Good morning, everybody. This is Jack Gleason with MajorLeagueTrading.com coming at you with your morning trade plan. It is Friday, February 15th, 2019, and this is a reminder to follow your rules and trade your plan. Economic reports before the bell at 4:30 a.m. You had Great Britain retail sales at 8:30 a.m. Import-export prices and the New York Empire State Manufacturing Index at 9:15. Capacity, utilization, industrial production. After the bell, 10 a.m., Michigan consumer sentiment, and at 1 p.m., we're going to have the Baker Hughes rig count. Trend biases of the prior day: ES, NASDAQ, Dow, all bearish. The Russell was neutral. The overnight is neutral in all four indexes. The shorter term time frame, bullish across the board: ES, NASDAQ, Dow, Russell. Same thing with the midterm and longer term time frames. Moving on to our previous day's summary for the S&P 500. The bell-to-bell high, 27.58 quarter, with the bell-to-bell low coming in at 27.30 quarter. Settlement was 27.43 half. Value area high 27.5175. Value area low 27.37. And the European close 27.39 half. Volume 1,642,000 contracts. Overnight high 27.5675, and the overnight low all the way down at 27.29. Floor trader pivot points: R4A 27.99 half, R3 27.8575, R2 27.72, R1 27.5775. The pivot point is 27.44. S1 27.2975, S2 27.17. 27.16, S3 27.0175, and S4A 26.87 half. For our range analysis, previous day 28-point range expansion against our median, 32.75 on the session, once again expanding our median. Overnight 26.5 expansion, 15 points in the first hour, also expansion. So we had range expansion on all of the measures that we look at on the prior day, with the indexes still closing mixed, because we had the NASDAQ higher, the Russell was higher, the Dow was lower, the S&P was. Nothing was higher or lower though by a quarter of a percentage point, but we did have some range expansion, stuck some levels here. So as far as strength goes, Russell led the way in the prior day. The Dow led to the downside. Over the last 5 days, the Russell has been the strongest market. Excuse me. Up 2.59%, and the Dow has been the weakest market. So that's been a continuous theme. Dow's the weak market. The Russell is the strong market. So let's go ahead and take a look here at these indexes. I want to start off with gold because I think we have a pretty technical move here in the GC market. One moment here. Just make sure you guys. Here we are. All right, so moving on with gold, we've had a really nice rally here and broken out of the top side of this range just by a few ticks and ran up into a leg start. But volatility really picked up on Wednesday. We had a move higher, which was rejected, and then we had a move lower, and then going into the open yesterday, we had this halfway back set up, really clean, and that halfway back blew through the negative 23% profit target into the negative 61, just like to the tick here. I am currently long gold from the overnight session, and I am looking for this extension to complete at 1324, and possibly, depending on how strong we are, get up to the negative 61.8% retracement at 1326.9. But it's important to look at the higher time frame here and be aware of where gold could possibly go. So we need to type in GCJ19, which is the April contract for gold. I'm going to show you guys a daily chart of this, and there was a really nice breakout towards the end of January. really started on the 25th. This bar was massive, 24 points up, followed by a 4-day rally of higher closes. If you look at this daily chart, we've been consolidating since the touch of what is the full 50% retracement of the year 2 high. That level is 1306.3. You cannot see that this chart does not look the same if you just have a chart of the continuous futures contract of gold. This is only the April contract for gold. So that low to high, assuming we complete profit targets, has targets all the way up at 1342. And it's possible that those complete next week if we can break out of some levels. So I just want to dissect potential resistance levels above. Number one would be the 78% retracement, kind of like a daily dive trade for those of you guys who've taken the Nadex course. So that would be at 1325.5. So 1325.5 is really where I would like to see gold break out of on the daily chart. And that's going to line up with the highs we had towards the end of January, beginning of February. So what I'm going to look to do is, if we can continue to hold this extension long here, we go back to the GC contract 13. If we can continue to hold these series of extensions, we can begin moving up into those profit targets. But very technical move here in gold, and that's what I'm going to be paying attention to early this morning. If we do break down below the 61.8, I would expect us to trade a full 50% retracement at 1313.6. 1313.6 is where I would expect the pullback to. All right, so that's what I have for gold. For the S&P 500, moving on to the hourly chart, the extension I have is you need to go to a smaller time frame, like a 5-minute chart, or like something that you can view a few days back. I'm gonna go to a 10-day 5-minute chart. But this extension anchor began as we broke out going back to the 8th of February, and this high to high sequence has been holding every time we've traded it. Now, yesterday we looked at these levels. It was 1335 quarter, and then 26.75. Now, in the overnight session, all we did was put the most amount of people in the most amount of pain, take out lows by a few ticks, and then reverse from basically the European Open in the overnight session. As soon as we got back above that support level, it's been lights out to the upside. And our current target that we want to be aware of based on this pullback is 2780. 2780. Okay, there is an unfilled profit target at 2765 we want to be aware of. 2765 would be an old negative 23% profit target from the pullback that happened last Friday on the 8th. Okay, we came 2 points shy of completing that target in the overnight session of the prior day. And now we're just going to be possibly trading that again here today. But this is, so far, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the 7th. This hourly bar just opened, but 6 hourly closes higher. That's some pretty significant buying pressure. So I would look for some type of sequence, an extension sequence here. So first thing I'm going to look for this morning is 2741.75, the high. Traded once to target, traded twice here to target. Same anchor, new high is going to give me this zone to set up in a potential pullback here this morning. 2751 quarter would be the most aggressive, down to 2749 quarter. So it's about a point range of where support should come into this morning here. Moving on to the Russell. The Russell's extension is from the high of 1515.6 to high. We traded the 50% retracement on the prior day. If you draw that same anchor to the new high, we kind of tagged down into that. Both there was a leg start on the hourly chart as well as a retest of the 38% retracement. Just came down really into a retest of that zone. But our upside profit target is going to be 1556. And same thing here. You have 6 hourly bars that have consistently closed higher. So we're going to be moving into the morning in a pretty aggressive buy sequence, and I'll see if I can even where I can identify it from. It looks like there is an anchor from 1543.6 to high. Okay, 1543.6 to high, and there is, you could be more aggressive than that. I personally don't want to be, but like if we could very well, there is a high to high here that we just could get bid right off the open. We can make new highs. I mean, we are going to be basically approaching, and like I mentioned in the chat room yesterday, internals were really, really strong all day. We just weren't going anywhere. And market sold off on just traders being traders. And you can see we're right back to where the market really wants to go, which is higher. Moving on to oil, which has rolled over. The oil market has rolled over here. We traded an extension long yesterday. That extension long has had a great reaction. I'm going to type in CLJ19 just to get a clear view of the current contract that we are in, CLJ19, and try to identify what would be the sequence here. Let's see. And I know there's an extension. Oh, this extension just completed profit targets. Okay, so I'm going to leave up to CLJ19. We have just completed profit targets from the extension from 52.25 to high. 52.25 to high is just completed at 55.75. Ideally speaking, I'd like to see a pullback into a same annual high. However, there's a possibility that if we go straight up through, start trading through these highs of 56, that we go extension to extension. So I'm just going to actually draw that extension up, see if we hold the 55.49 zone. But it's very possible we go straight up through these levels. Moving on to the Nasdaq on the hourly chart. This is a pretty simple setup. Full halfway back long from the last pullback area. It's been highlighted all week. Okay. Low of Monday, too high, pulls halfway back, 69.83. We get a retest in the overnight session. We're going straight up from there. Back up to the top of the resistance area. If we can get through 70.60, I think the possibility the Nasdaq takes off is really there. As far as an entry, the current extension, I would look at a pullback into this zone right here. Okay, as far as an entry goes. That's 70.43 to 70.37.5. And for the Dow, it's a similar pullback. Full 50% retracement from the low of Monday to high. Halfway back is 25,302. Traded that level yesterday. Retested, took out lows, and ripped here in the overnight session. The Dow, I think I said the Dow was the weaker market. So I'm more interested in actually a full halfway back long here. I'm not going to be an aggressive buyer with an extension. If we're going to trade in extensions from the overnight session, I'd prefer to trade the markets that are more aggressive like the Russell, but the Dow has not been more aggressive. So I'm going to look at the full halfway back long here. 25,408 would be that level, guys, and that is all I have for this morning's trade plan. A lot of action going into a Friday. I will share all of these levels in the Major League Trading Morning Discord. If you enjoy this content, give this video a thumbs up. And if you're serious about learning how to trade, you can check out any of our courses where you can find more information on how I look at the markets with Fibonacci sequences, etc. But everybody, hope you had a great Valentine's Day and hope you have a fantastic weekend. I'll talk to you guys here soon in the MLT Power Hour.